Another memorable summer is gone, and now it is high time to reflect upon what I succeeded in what turned out to be a failure and a sport for improvement. And I'm speaking about gardening, obviously. So, where shall I start from? Oh yes, from the moment when my dream came true and I installed my first polytunnel. I was full of ideas and anticipation for the upcoming first season with the polytunnel until I got first troubles with it. Definitely, after I installed it, I planted first peppers and tomatoes for early crop. 2 days later, the polytunnel got flooded. Spring was truly ruthless this year. The water in the polytunnel remained for a couple of days. The plants survived, but it was the start of various unknown plant diseases with which I struggled during the entire summer. Due to that, plants were reluctant to grow and develop during the month of May. Nevertheless, tomatoes and peppers were gradually filling the space in the polytunnel. Everything else that I planted there, like Chinese cabbage, cucumbers, eggplants, never managed to grow and provide us with harvest, which is the saddest part in this story. I'm still in two minds about the causes of such a failure. One of the reasons is the spider mite, which I never dealt with in the open before, but I will be ready to fight with it the next season. But the second reason is still unknown. I think that it has to deal with the flood at the end of April. The polytunnel proved, though, that tomatoes are resilient to any type of disease, and the best side of it is that I got first tomatoes in June. Moving on to garlic. For the first time, I covered the bed with walnut leaves, and the results were impressive. The garlic found its way, and the sprouts appeared earlier under the blanket of leaves. A lot of years have passed since we started planting one type of garlic. I finally bought a new variety, and you can see the results on your own. One variety was really good, but our old garlic is the best so far. I will keep searching still. I've taken these varieties and have already planted them for next season on the 19th of September. My godmother says that it's a magical number and the reason behind her successful garlic. Onion was impressive this year. I was even a bit shocked to see the result. The point is that I used sawdust for the bed of onion and the sprouts were growing by leaps and bounds. In the end, the sizes of the bulbs were identical, like magic. I will use the same strategy for next year. The only difference will be that I will plant onion beforehand from seeds rather than from onion sets. To tell the truth, I'm still struggling with getting good results from potato beds. Surprising, isn't it? In the country so successful in terms of growing potatoes. I think that my mistake is that I choose poor soil for that and never water it when the dry season is at its extreme. I'll try to fix that next year. used wood ashes for the beds of carrots and beetroot for the first time. It turned out to be a good nutrient for this type of crop. I never watered root crops during this season, so I considered the results to be pretty good. What I found to be particularly remarkable is the crop of peas. I found a great variety for our climate type, and the plants looked like a garland hung with identical pods. I even collected a package of peas to plant for the next year without buying it at the market. Eggplants in the open weren't a huge success. I gave a try to a new type of them, lawn ones, and it turned out to be rather uncomfortable in cooking. I'd still love to stick to the usual small and stout variety of eggplants like this one. Tomatoes in the open were just fine as usual. I tried growing bush variety for the first time, and you know what? I found it so adorable. So it will be a must-have for me from now on. The only trouble is that you have to plant them in pots, preferably because when they grow wild like that, they tend to get down with blight alert earlier, infecting all other tomatoes they come in contact with. I also planted peanut for the first time ever. The plant was so exotic and decorative, but my mistake was that I planted it really late and never knew that you have to earth it up from time to time. Knowing that, the peanut is in the list of plants for the next year. The biggest disappointment was the cucumber plant. Who could have thought that I would ever have troubles with them? Almost all the flowers were empty and the plants were hybrids. The only plant that gave us cucumbers was the lawn salad variety. It is officially the first year when we hadn't pickled a single jar of cucumbers. It is a shock for me still. And the scariest part is that I don't know the reason for this strange result. My recent favorite part of gardening is planting watermelons. There was a huge success last year. What I can't say about this one, my graftings failed, but I don't lose hope for next year. The melon was a success and I got inspired to plant even more for next time. It turned out to be heavenly delicious than any other melon at the market. Watermelons were okay, but my mistake was that I didn't plant them on warm beds. They really need it badly. So, fixing these mistakes will be my top priority for next season. And switching to berries, raspberry was a blast. Firstly, in terms of growth, From point zero, the bush grew more than 2 meters in height. I was eating the berries till the end of August. They were really huge. So I keep propagating new bushes so that to have a sufficient amount of berries for raspberry jam, a good remedy during the season of colds. I think that this year was a bit of a revelation for me, as I have paid attention to how blackcurrant bush was flowering, attracting dozens of bees and forming bunches of berries. I used to hate gathering blackcurrant when I was a child because you could spend hours there picking every single berry. But now I quite enjoy it, probably because everything fresh that I grow in my plot is like a piece of cake for me. Strawberry bushes were a lot better during the 3rd year of their life. They gave out their maximum. I'm forming new bed at the moment since 4 years is more than enough for a strawberry bush. In order to get juicier and bigger berries, the bushes have to be young. The grape plants were mesmerizing. I was watching them develop like a child who was seeing something like this for the first time. I would never believe a small vine could grow a massive amount of grapes. I got to taste them and I feel lucky to get that chance because I never knew that grape could be so fresh, juicy and crunchy. My goal now is propagating more grape plants. As for the fruit trees, apple orchard was fabulous in May. My close interest fell on a new apple tree in my orchard that was successfully damaged by the hare. Relatively young it was, but it bloomed and formed 3 big bunches of apples. I bought an early sweet variety, but of course it turned out to be of late winter variety. At least the apples were handsome, with gentle pinkish side. And now I have to wait for the months of winter to get the real taste of them, since they are rather sour right now. After a massive cut in a walnut, it still gave a bit of nuts, not much comparing to the previous year. But I feel that it needs a friend to cross-pollinate, so working on this at the moment. The blossom of cherry plum was unbelievable. I got an insanely beautiful shot of the tree losing its flowers that even some of you thought that I edited it. No way in this world, guys. Everything that I show is pretty much real, and the abundance of fruits is the proof. The branches leaned towards the ground. Never seen anything alike. I was totally blessed with it. The pear was as usual, given a bit of fruits to savor. It is one of the fruit trees I love watching, especially the way it grows fruits. What an adventure I had with blueberry bushes. If you missed it, go and check it out. One of truly memorable parts of this season. Let's head for another yet gorgeous part of every garden, flowers. My lavender bush got bigger, the way I dreamed of. I added iris to my garden. It loses the flowers quick enough, but it looks so bizarre in a good sense. I bet you already know that peonies are my favorite flowers in my garden. Wish to have a couple of new varieties. Lilies are a must-have. My mom adores them. We've got all colours possible. I also added 3 new varieties. They bloomed for 3 days this year, but I expect them to show what they've got during the next season. Hydrangea is a queen as usual. Nothing can be compared with it. For this reason, I bought a new pink variety. It bloomed for the first time, but never gave any pink shade. Is it another lie from the cellar? Delphinium was a new addition to the flower garden. The colour is so delicate, it is supposed to grow a lot higher. Helenium was also a good pick for enriching the flower garden. Vibrant yellow colour is something you obviously lack in the months of summer. I'm hunting for a rather rare dark red variety of helenium now. Exceeded all of my expectations in terms of graftings. It somehow was a major shock of this season for me. I was almost 90% successful in all the graftings I had made for the first time in my life, excluding watermelons, of course. So a more detailed video with all the steps will be next year, I promise. Every season brings unexpected bumper crop that's usually growing unnoticed, and then boom, a pumpkin of almost 70 kilograms, I suppose, a total blast. With the passage of years, I'm turning into a conscious gardener, and putting all the nutrients back into the soil is part of my routine. Manure, compost, grass and leaves are all part of organic enrichment of the soil. This autumn I finished forming the boundaries of all the beds in my garden, so now it looks ideal. And lastly, the crown jewel of every season is the family of storks. In April, our favorite stork returned back to its beloved nest and was getting ready for a new generation of baby storks. This year, the same as the previous one, there were 3 of them. When they grew up in August, they danced in the sky above our garden every single evening. I really cherish the moments of this summer. Getting back to darkness of winter is rather painful, but highly needed and recommended. Well, that was a huge tale, but whilst making it, I felt a bit better. With lots of love from me and my garden. Take care, you guys. See you soon. Bye bye.